Morning, we're in the Eccles Church Street. We're in the northern type, how would we describe it, David? The bottle shop and tap room?
Bottle shop and tap room at one point, I suppose. We were, before COVID, a bit part bar, part shop. Obviously, because of COVID, we're now just a shop, so we've got the website, people can order online there, or obviously you can just walk in and have a look at the fridges and see what we've got on offer and on the shelves.
Well, he's just answered the questions I was going to pre-prepared for you.
Go on.
No,
sorry.
No. I remember it when it was Crossley's newsagents.
Yes.
And I'm pleased to say that this area, the top end, is becoming like a bit of a northern quarter. We've got Mrs A's, we've got the Adjo's, we've got the Greek restaurant Illyrian's Services down the bottom. I love it up here now. You must have a background then in beer retail, I assume?
Yes, so me and my partner Jenny, we decided to set this up basically after working in pubs, running pubs for other people for a long time. Having a fond interest in these kind of products, these kind of beers and ciders, we decided to set it up ourselves. So between the two of us, we've got around about 28 years experience in the hospitality sector, so we thought it was about time we worked for ourselves, really.
The name Northern Type, where does that come from?
So Northern Type came from, it was actually Jenny who came up with the name the Northern Type. We had various names, and we won't go into any reasons why we didn't pick them names, but Jenny suggested the Northern Type one night, and I wasn't for it, to be honest. I didn't want us to maybe be focused on one part of the country. I wanted us to get the best products from around the UK, all the fantastic breweries that we were. But we also wanted to be loosely train based. So when we Googled the name, the Northern Type, it turns out that there's a defunct train over in Canada that was called the Northern Type. So we went from there, and then we got in touch with a guy who had taken the pictures of this train, and it turned out he lived in Canada but was originally from Manchester. So
synchronicity.
It all kind of, that's how it stuck. The name stuck.
Now, look at it this way: if I was a thirsty traveller walking up Church Street, what delights could you offer me?
So again, it depends a lot of the times on maybe what your favourite kind of beer is, or what your style of beer that you like to drink. Something refreshing, especially on a warm day. I mean, you'd probably take a look at something like the Tam O'Shanter from Pilton, who are based down in Shepton Mallet. So Tam O'Shanter is probably one of our best-selling ciders, something that we recommend to a lot of our customers, certainly a thirst quencher. But in regards of beer,
how many varieties do you stock? Do you know offhand?
In regards to beer, it changes all the time because beers are quite seasonal. So in the winter months, you probably get more dark beers made by these breweries, and in the summer months, you might get a lot more pale ales, lagers,
IPAs, isn't it?
things like that. Lager as a style in the craft beer industry probably wasn't really a thing up until a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. A lot of them were steering away from lagers, where now a lot of them are making lagers again. But for something like, maybe especially if it was earlier on in the day, maybe a 3.7% pale ale from Cloudwater,
a session ale,
a session beer, certainly something like that. If you're feeling maybe a bit braver, something from Rivington, Never Known Fog Like It, again one of our
what's it called?
Never Known Fog Like It. So they make it.
What a great name for a beer.
So they make it very, very murky. It's got no. It's vegan and vegetarian friendly. So they don't put any finings in these kind of beers, or a lot of the breweries don't.
Yeah.
So actually, what it does is it gives a very murky look, and I think most people would probably look at it and go, "Oh, I'm not drinking that." Whereas that's how it's meant to be.
Right.
So the name Never Known Fog Like It is because it's very cloudy, but very tasty. A New England pale. So New England pales tend to be very hoppy, very light. So again, if you're feeling a bit braver, something that quench you first.
What's one you mentioned to me a while back? Was it called fine ales?
So fine ales, yes. So fine ales are probably, when we talk about craft breweries or real ale breweries, fine ales have probably been going a lot longer than most of these, but I think around about 22 years or something like that. They're based on a farm up in Scotland. And Jarl, their core beer, everyday beer, is something that I remember drinking years ago when I first got into these beers. Because of COVID, and because of where they're based, you stopped seeing a lot of their beers around this part of the country, really, in England, because they stopped getting distributed around here. So a lot of the breweries had to kind of figure out ways themselves to start getting their products around the UK. So I got in touch with Fine Ales, and it just
spelled F-Y-N-E?
F-Y-N-E Ales Brewery. You can actually go up to the brewery. When I ordered my beers for here, one of our friends was there, weren't they, at the same time? He'd gone up from Liverpool to go and see them. And again, they're the kind of breweries that a lot of the other breweries wouldn't be around if it wasn't for the ones who have been doing it for maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
But their Corbeil Jal, for me, it's very well priced. It's a good blonde ale with Citra hops in there. So again, that's the kind of something that, you could drink a couple of cans of that on a nice warm day.
Yeah.
And again, I suppose that's where a lot of these breweries get their inspiration from. We look at Marble Brewery. I'm sure a lot of people will have heard of the Marble Arch in Manchester. Marble have been going for a similar amount of time, and they're still here.
Do you stock local? You know, like we've got Seven Brothers in Salford.
Yes.
Pomona. Manchester Union, have you heard of those?
So yes, we know Manchester. And again, we will stock things that are local. We do try to stock more local than anything. But for us, a lot of the times, it's more to do with the quality. So again, we could maybe look at Daya Brewery. And again, this is a big, strong beer. So this is a what you'd call a triple IPA. So 11%. So you won't be having two of them in quick succession. But again, vegan-friendly beer, unfiltered, unpasteurised, unfined. And again, they're based down in Cheltenham, Daya, but they're very good at making IPAs, double IPAs. So if you don't stock a brewery like this, then customers will probably come in and say, well, why don't you stock that? So for us, I think you've got to have a good balance between stocking what's local, what's in the northwest, and then obviously getting the best of what else you can get available in the UK.
I noticed that you've, I won't say branched out, it's the wrong word, you started selling mead.
Yes.
And Salford rum, our favourite, Carl.
Yes.
Are they good sellers?
They do all right. So again, I'll start with the rum really first, because when we were open as a bar, you'd get a lot of people coming in saying, I don't really like beer, and sometimes you'd be able to persuade them, maybe get them to try something that they might like. And if they wanted to try something else, we used to have vodka and gins. Our vodka and gins used to be from Turncoat distillery over in Liverpool, which were fantastic. But then with the Salford rum, again, being local, lovely design on the bottle that they've got as well. We really wanted to support them, so we started selling it by the glass and by the bottle. And it was always a very popular drink towards the end of the night, shall we say, on a Friday night. The double rums and Coke would be they'd be the final orders for the night. And obviously Salford rum themselves have branched out. They've got a dark spice rum,
honey rum,
and they've got the honey rum as well, which is very, very popular. Which, interestingly enough, the honey rum leads us to the mead, doesn't it? Really, before COVID, there was a chap. He was a friend of a friend called Anthony. And he was coming in with basically just samples of mead, and they were all flavoured, and none of us had really ever tried mead before and didn't really know what it was. But every time that he brought these samples in, again normally on a Friday evening or a Saturday tea time, and all the regulars, all of our customers absolutely went mad for him. Now unfortunately he wasn't licensed at the time, he was making them as a hobby and giving them away. Throughout COVID he got his licence, got all set up, and we're very, very lucky that it's local, lives just down the road in Eccles. It's local honey, so Jenny swears that it helps with the hay fever, but I'm not
medicinal.
Medicinal apparently,
stuff.
But he does all fantastic kinds of flavours. This has actually been my favourite one, the strawberry cheesecake. So if you've ever had mead before,
no,
it's very bitter and it's sweet and bitter, but almost meniscus. So it's not the kind of thing.
Meniscus.
Yes, so it's quite.
Word, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. It's just got a bit of a gloopiness to it, so you wouldn't really swill back a glass of it, so to speak, because it is a similar.
A yard of it.
Precisely, it is a similar strength to wine, so 13.5%. So that's a pina colada flavour. But what's amazing about them is I have had original mead, and mead, I can take it or leave it, but what's fantastic about these is the flavours you get afterwards.
Yeah.
The aftertastes are fantastic. We tend to crack a bottle open and leave it in the fridge for half an hour, and we'll probably just have a little small glass. So, well, yeah, sometimes a bit quicker. Sometimes it don't get in the fridge, but we'll tend to have like a small glass with just a weed ram in there, and then obviously in between your beers.
What are in the cap bottles? What are those?
So these ones here.
Yeah.
So a lot of the bigger bottles. So these tend to be made for sharing, really. So again, much more like you'd maybe have a bottle of wine with a meal or something like that with your partner. So a lot of it, they're all different. A lot of them are maybe like wild ales. So like, for example, we've got a blended wild ale with cherries, chuckleberries and tonka in there. So 6.6% wild ale. So again, just something a little bit different to maybe, rather than having maybe like say a bottle of wine or something like that. And there's loads of different kind of styles. Cloudwater are fantastic at these kind of things. Barrel aging, beers, ales, and basically making them better year and year. So that's a 7%. So this is actually a lambic inspired beer.
When you are with friends, you could have a potato.
Yeah.
That's deep, that, isn't it? Not a clue what it means, but I like it.
This is it. So, and again, I mean, I have a look at beers like this. So what I'll actually do here, so you've got, this is Mayan continuous improvement. So what they've had,
is it stout, right?
Yeah, they've had a stout that's basically been a base in a barrel for a long time, and then they've continuously improved it.
Yeah. So
there was an older version of this maybe 6 months ago, which had again slightly had different ingredients, but I know this one. This one's got. So it's like a Mayan hot chocolate twist on an indulgent imperial stout. Chilies, cinnamon in there, all kinds of different flavours. But again, 11%. So you're not having too many of them in a night. And again, probably
Michael Duff, you like your stout. Next time you're in Eccles, I'll bring you in here and I'll treat you to one, possibly two.
Yeah.
Michael Duff.
Maybe one to share, I'd say.
He doesn't share Michael Duff, believe me. He doesn't.
Right.
You got it.
But yeah,
you've obviously got a great affection for your trade, haven't you?
I think, being brought up in pubs, I was born in a pub, so I lived in pubs growing up. Even when I was old enough to go and do my own thing, I worked doing sales for a couple of years and still ended up working in pubs. And looking after cask beer, your hand pull beers, there was just this pleasure about looking after a cask beer, venting it and tapping it, and then a few days later a customer being sat at the bar and saying how well it had been looked after, and that kind of grew a natural love for beer and making sure customers were happy. And I think as we get older, I didn't just want a beer to taste nice, I wanted something that was better, and then better again, and then better again, and then other styles of beer. I don't think I would have drank dark beers as much as what I do nowadays 10 years ago. Whereas now you get something like that and a bar of chocolate and you sit there at the end of the night when the kids are in bed, and it's absolutely brilliant. But then again, I never used to drink so we have sour beers, which are more like maybe down the line of a cider, which I would have never have drank years ago, which I suppose that's what we're here for. Maybe find your next favourite best beer, or something that you've never had before.
So, believe it or not, I do have friends. I heartily recommend it too. I'm talking to Tony Topping and Billy Harrison. They're from Wigan. Now they make journeys to Manchester.
Yep.
The real ale aficionados, craft beers. So come down, boys, and meet Dave and Jenny. The train station's at the top. You've got no excuse. So tell us your opening hours.
So at the moment, because we're just trading as a shop, 12 till 6 Tuesday to Friday, and then on a Saturday it's 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. Obviously, we've got the website there as well at the minute.
Sunday?
So Sundays at the moment we're staying closed purely because I've took my lad's football team on and his matches are on Sundays at the minute. But we will work around that in the future. That's where we're at the moment. And obviously the website's live 24/7. It's amazing to see sometimes actually we get first-time customers coming in and they'll buy a couple of beers. They're not too sure. We'll have a chat about what they're buying. And then that night they'll be sat at home and you'll go, oh, bing, an order's come through from that person who was
You
in
also
today.
do deliveries, don't you?
And we do local deliveries as well. So we'll do Tuesday to Saturday, we'll do anywhere within M30. And then if you check the website, we do surrounding areas as well on certain days. If we can get it to you earlier, then we do. So.
Yeah. Plus, you've got Wi-Fi.
Yes, we have Wi-Fi.
Toilets.
So when we're open as a bar,
Clean,
people can
lovely.
sit down. That's it. Nice and friendly environment.
Yeah.
We've even, I mean, just this Sunday, we arranged to meet up with a lot of our regulars because we miss them all so dearly, you know, and it's nice to sit and have a chat and see where they're up to, and that's the kind of environment that we used to love.
Yeah. So the final plug for Dave and Jenny is support your local businesses. You know, you need them, don't you?
Yeah.
They've suffered terribly with COVID, like so many other companies have and businesses. So, don't walk past, walk in. That's what I'd recommend. So, Northern Type gets a thumbs up from me, Dave. And Jen, thanks for having us.
Thank you very
We
much
really
for coming
enjoyed
down.
it.
Cheers, Sony. Thank you.
Pleasure's ours.
All the best.